So I went back and listened to a couple of the shows from yesterday. It's interesting. Hear the way the game sounded in the background. My voice came across to me as very nasally. And it's weird because I have to set it where I can't hear myself. So otherwise, it's like if you're a news reporter out in the field and there's not the mix minus, as they call it, turned on, then you hear yourself on a delay in your ear, and it's extremely distracting. There are some people that are very good. They can hear things in their ear and keep reading and not miss a beat. It tends to throw me off a bit. But at least it didn't sound like I was getting drowned out or that I was overpowering. Well, hopefully it's hitting that middle ground there the way it's supposed to. For a headset that cost me less than $30, it seems to be working out pretty well so far. And I don't blame the headset for my ability to actually be able to hear myself. I'm sure it's the way my computer's set up. So. I'm not sure when it comes to live streaming, from when I hit the start streaming button until it starts recording. They said it on a couple of them, unless I was just mistaken, that it kind of cut in right during my intro. So I don't know. Anyway, the last show, still the ECW Heavyweight Championship. Shane Douglas had left ECW, had the belt. I tried playing as Douglas on a show, hiring him as a one-off. He's going to just lose the match to Walter. But instead I messed up and won by submission. So then I had to spend some money and get Douglas to come back a second time. That time played as Jericho. And normally I just sim, but in this case I wanted to get that belt. Took 2 tries, but finally got it with Jericho. So Jericho's a double champion. And I don't know if I'm going to have him actually defend that ECW championship. Bruce is going to hang on to it for a while. I don't know, I haven't decided. I found that the mute button on my headset cord makes a loud enough pop that it annoys me when I hear it played back in a video. So I'm going to try a different method, just hitting the mute button. I'm going to test the thing out here. Okay, yeah. That worked. I'll just be able to, within OBS Studio, I can set the mute button because I've got my mic separated from the desktop audio. I don't know if that's necessarily the most conventional way for people to do this sort of thing, but I'm still just trying to figure it all out. So, okay, here we go. Not just a ton of time tonight, but very, very busy with NFL Draft and NFL Combine coverage. I work at DraftKings. So for now, taking a break from that. I'm going to see how July, now that I have a television partner, how that's going to turn out for me. Up to $1.22 million worth of assets. Although I think that show hurt our popularity. Having Enzo no-show and Honda have personal reasons to miss the show. It would have been a full house instead of a 2/3 gate. So I guess it punishes you for that. That's what I get for trying to trust in non-contract guys. Now I'm up to my limit as far as gym space goes for my roster, so I'm going to have to spend a little bit of cash here. Now, there's the broadcaster contract. And basically I just have to put a show on every month. As long as I do that, maybe $7,000 a month. The regional channel. Merchandise. Get some more t-shirts in. Hopefully have a show with a better crowd. I don't know if I'm going to try and aim for that 30,000 again this soon after that. Whole problem with a 7-match show turned into a 5-match show and losing Walter versus Enzo. small time with these. Just so a pretty good selection of merch. I guess first things first. Training center. This is where the expansion. Okay, I thought it was 150,000, but it's actually 135,000 for the expansion. So spend that money. Go to level 4. I think we'll stick with what we have for now. Brought in Mike Awesome with an invite in the last show. He ended up beating Goldberg. Surprising Goldberg a couple of 2.9 counts. Then I think it was an Awesome Bomb that KO'd. I guess this really doesn't change month to month here. As I meet their standards and have so far. I like most demanding standards in there. I'm sure it gets more difficult as you move up the food chain, so to speak. Okay, I already looked at this part. Eventually get the hang of these menus. I found the scouts to be worthless. But again, playing it at a larger scale like I planned to do, I imagine that come into play at that point. We got hundreds of free agents. Still not wanting to poach anybody. Like 1/100th the size of WWE at this point. So I was thinking I may go for Steve Dr. Death Williams here, unless he's like not a fan of us or something. S popularity, and for that price, the salary listing. Now he's going to want considerably more than that. Dr. Death can go. He could in his prime. I always had positive memories of mid-1990s Japanese wrestling video games that I played, including the Fire Pro series. That there was usually a Dr. Death knockoff of some sort. Like playing with the All Japan top guys, Kobashi or Sawa, or Shinya Hashimoto from New Japan. So let's see, for Steve Williams, well, there aren't that many people out there left for the Kings Road designation, which is the style of shows that I have. So most of them won't have a style that matches. We'll see. I could have gone for Mike Awesome, but I think going for Williams with that S rating. Need something to boost us back up to a B. Can't be regressing. Okay. We're off you north of $40,000, Dr. Death. Come on, go for it. All right. So there we go. Dr. Death. Invite. Almost a little gun shy about using the invite too much. Having people no-show. I don't know if that was just an anomaly or if that's part of the game. Take a second there to adjust my screen placement. The OBS studio. I can see my mic level and scared me for a moment. Startled me. I've got Dr. Death coming in. I'll put him in the main event against Jericho. Cedric Alexander's the only guy on my roster with a poor physical rating, so I'll give him the show off. And Rollins, of course, would be nice, but $31,000 salary. He's still got that high-end WWE money in his head. I think it's pronounced Audaz. I don't know. Some of the luchadors, the pronunciation. I'll read about it in the Observer newsletter or online or here. So if I have a botched pronunciation, please forgive me. Let's see if he'll come in for a one-off. Got to keep the junior heavyweight side fresh. Signing Dr. Death didn't help me to that end, but that's okay. He's got an S rating. Him against Jericho and two guys with an S rating in the main event. Strike while the iron's hot. Okay, he really didn't want to work King's Road style, apparently. I'd love to book Psycho Clown, but that salary for just a B popularity, it's not worth it. I don't think. Not when I could book Starman. Metallico. That's not cheap. C popularity. La Sombra no-showed on me, so this game isn't so in-depth. It's not like Total Extreme Wrestling where it keeps track and remembers when there's a rift. It's not that deep. But again, it's an in-game downloadable content extra that is based on a sim, but not a true sim. That's really the best way to look at it. It's a fun factor. I've had a really fun time just playing it. It's its own little unique world. Let's see, Metallico, $7,500 for a one-off. All right. Still going to stay away from the tournaments at this point until I get some sort of clear impression that they want me to try one. Okay. Try again for I wonder if I can go for an 8-match show. Goldberg, it's got the less than encouraging red around his neck and his midsection, but it's listed as normal. For the moment, that doesn't really matter. There we go. As much as you can justify giving Jericho a month off, we'll do need to boost things back up. Unfortunately, they got Malenko as a heavyweight. So I can't have him challenge Pac for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Sorry, Malenko. Here's what I'll do. I'll have Ambrose and Pac team up again. Even though Neville is the Junior Heavyweight Champion. Although I don't know if I'll do it in the spot right here. Cedric there, poor for his condition. Although if I booked him, there's a pretty decent chance he might come out injured. Omega down here. With Gran Guerrero against Ambrose and Pac. That might be the move right here. That would justify a semi-main event slot. And they love their championship matches in this game in Fire Promoter. Ambrose and Pac, former holders of the Tag Team Championship. So that's it as far as title matches go here. Cody at a B in popularity. It's one of those from, and again, I'm not sure exactly how the game decides that with the popularity. Poor Sheamus still stuck on all G's across the board, even in Japan. He has pretty good matches. I like using Walter, but his popularity's at a B. Cedric, he's healing up this month, as I mentioned. May do Wyndham versus Malenko. Well, second generation guys. If Malenko wants to be a heavyweight, fine. He gets to go wrestle Wyndham. Four more spots to fill. That's 9. Okay, so I've got 9 healthy guys. Sort of healthy, like Goldberg. I may give Goldberg the month off. I don't know how it takes age into account with this game. I mean, go for the Goldberg circa 1998. That's different than Goldberg age 53 isn't listed in this game. Kind of creates its own calendar. It's year 2. try something here with Metallico. Him take on Flyer. If Flyer can beat him, put him in position to get a junior heavyweight championship shot, at least in theory. The red mask and red tights. Be a good spot for a Walter match. If there's any saving grace to Enzo no-showing and refusing to work against Walter, that gave Walter a month to heal up a little bit. Walter versus Cody. This needs to be a good show. But yeah, it's probably worth it to let Goldberg rest. And we get the big main event, so the undercard's not sparkling. Not the end of the world. T-Hawk against Yoshihashi. We'll give him the Dennis the Menace blonde hair. I'm going to do something to make this opener interesting. Although you really can't do a stint match. You got the most deep popularity anyway. That would put me within 1,000 of selling the place out, assuming the matches go on as expected. But I think it's going to be better to double back. The price. Let's make it crazy with the pricing. Which that's with heavy advertising. Scale this down a bit. Different. Okay, 15,000 a full house, $20 a ticket. From a pure ticket price standpoint, it's a wash as far as $20 tickets get 15,000 people versus $10 tickets and 30,000. Now, you would think with more people you'd sell more merch, but I'm still not exactly sure just how interconnected that is within the game. They have a long match. It will make up, hopefully, for their low popularity. It sometimes happens with some of those guys on the lower side of the card and having pretty decent matches and them helping me out. Most of these are sticking with a 30-minute time limit. I've only had one 30-minute time limit draw thus far. Cody match against Ambrose. And Ambrose ended up having like fatigue problems after that, so it was actually somewhat felt true to life for the way he was out of action for I think 3 months. So this I need to fix, make it 30 minutes. It's already at 30. This moves to 45. Main event will go 60. Okay, so we're good on that. Set it for a 7-match show. Full house. Don't spend too much on advertising. We're gonna go with that. A lot of merch here. Here we go. Wow, Metallica. Maybe the trick is to book a show that's not set up like King's Road. I have to learn more about that. It's starting to cause me some problems. Checking something out with the microphone properties here. The game seems louder to me than last time, but I can't hear my voice. The frustration to that end. The audio might get crazy here for a second. I'm going to try unmuting the mic from volume mixer. All this stuff I've had to learn to be able to stream properly. So, okay, here this is the... Yeah, I need to turn this down. Okay, that's more like it. Alright. Okay. Hopefully I haven't been drowned out too much. Okay, that fixes the microphone echo problem, although I still can't hear myself, so I'll have to make sure to do a checklist when I stream as far as checking how I sound versus the audio. That can be a problem sometimes. Hit save. Don't have just a ton of time. When it's reached the point for some of these undercard matches, I can only sit through so many Yoshihashi Sims in a row in the same ring, in the same arena. How about that? 100%? That'll work. So Shima wins. Two guys that are rated D for popularity, but they sure help my average card rating there. I was going to skip this one too. I'm going to see if I can replicate something that happened yesterday where I started a match and then hit to skip it and hit into fast forward mode. Whoa, let's do it again. There's 30 minutes of something there. Okay, I've turned the audio down a little bit more, and I'm going to see how that affects things. Trying to do it here on the OBS Studio mixer board here. So we didn't get the full house, thanks to the no-show. Maybe I'll do a Lucha show next month. So we'll sim this one as well, or avoid the fast forward button type match simulation. Cody knocks out Walter. And they got me 100%. So the card rating's pretty stout. 2 100% and a 96%. We'll go ahead and watch this. Wyndham and Malenko. Malenko is one of my favorite characters when WCW had the license for the same engine software company designed to end up going into WWF No Mercy. But when WCW had it, playing as Malenko on the N64, fun memories of that. I'm not sure what effects, if any, it would have if I ran a show that, instead of King's Road style, was set for Lucha. Like if that would have some sort of effect on the audience not liking the change, or if it would be a positive and guys would no-show because the style was compatible or whatever. Okay, the noise suppression wasn't turned on. Okay, that's... Now I'll be able to... I guess... One way to learn. For some reason, I guess I thought it would default back to that when I had it set for the noise cancellation last time. And this is more trial and error than anything. I think it's just going to be the one show tonight. Got to get back to it. Delve back into the world of the NFL draft and the combine. I don't think I've seen anybody in this game submit to getting punched in the face repeatedly. Well, I guess it could happen. And as I've noted a few times before, this is the vanilla version without any mods in play. A lot of times I'll play where it's, I forget what the designation for it is. It says WWE rest holds or rest holds finishes turned off. So essentially, you're not having a 35-minute match with the Road Warriors and ends with a chin lock by Pac. But for submission moves that are either signature or the finisher, you can get a submission that way. And part of the mod pack that Carlzilla makes available. I've stumbled a couple of times trying to say Carlzilla. I don't know why. It's not that difficult to pronounce. No disrespect at all intended for Carlzilla. Malenko's got him running. Something I like in Malenko matches, those near fall combinations, chain wrestling. Tiger driver on the floor. With a Texas cloverleaf. Oh, Wyndham. The second consecutive show that Barry Windham's had a match where the fans are really getting into it. So Wyndham came in and lost 3 in a row, and then he beat Juice Robinson last week. like Wyndham's playing Malenko's game with the multiple near falls and the cradles, and again with the roll-up. So another 100% match for Wyndham. And a victory, the schoolboy. All right. Because we lost that one match with the invite no showing. The semi-main, Dean and Pac challenging Kenny Omega and Gran Guerrero. "45-minute time limit." I've been going through and trying to decide how I'm going to set up whenever I go for a larger version of this, 4 companies. I want to have it where I only have one of an actual person. Somebody has 2 or 3 gimmicks. I won't have the one-man gang and Akeem, because it's the same guy. But I'm thinking I might split it up. With WWE, it's so big. It's like I want to have like a modern day WWE run by 73-year-old Vince McMahon. And then like WWF, right? 1980s Vince McMahon, the younger version. And then a separate thing for NXT, and that includes guys that had a very good run at NXT and then got called up to the main roster and things didn't turn out as well. Think about what the Revival had match-wise at NXT against American Alpha. By kind of sheer chance that it worked out, I saw them have 3 different matches at NXT, including that great one they had in Dallas 3 years ago, the takeover before WrestleMania 32. Oh, that was a bit of a glitch there. I don't think I've ever seen something like that before, with the glitch outside the ring in that particular way.
Always love that bump outside the ring. Guy falls head first into the floor. That reverse Frankensteiner amazes me that some of those guys are able to flip over for it. I took another break earlier from NFL draft stuff to watch the MLW live show on BN Sports. I've got a bunch of sports channels by way of Dish Network. My gig, I'm watching obscure college football games on channels a lot of people don't have as a necessity for the job, so I've got it. And it was cool with Brandon, my buddy's the referee in the main event, Filthy Tom Lawler, who I know through the Observer in an online, on Twitter kind of way. I haven't met him in person. But it's cool though seeing him out there in the main event, getting the win. MLW's been put in a tough spot with the way that business has changed in the past year. A lot of guys that they thought have a chance to use off the independent scene, even after WWE had gone through. And look at that. Hawk breaking out the crazy move with Omega. The Eliminator's finish. Total elimination, the leg sweep, high kick combo. That stretch muffler from Gran Guerrero has been over in this game. It's had a couple of surprising finishes. All breaking out the finishers. We got a Doomsday Device. Along with a double axe handle. Like Grand Guerrero off the top with Omega holding. And they really have improved things in this game as far as tag team logic goes. Ambrose and Neville are former champs. Neville's the current junior heavyweight champ, so if he wins this, he'll be a double champion. Kind of like Chris Jericho with both the AEW and ECW heavyweight championship belts. Oh, that was a cool finish. New champions. Ambrose and Pac. I forget sometimes that when I'm on the live stream and I put my mouse across the actual screen part with the game, it shows up. So 100%. That went well. All right, average card rating of 99%. So I think we're going to be okay unless something truly unexpected happens in the main event. Like one of the few stipulations I have for one of my promotion deals is that I can't have a match below 50%. I think we'll be okay with Williams and Jericho. Dr. Death and Jericho both with an S rating popularity-wise for the United States. Let's go to the main event here. This will be my last match of the night here with the live stream. Just taking a break from work to try this out again and working through bugs and learning things. Not taking settings for granted the next time I relaunch certain programs. But still, this has worked out remarkably smoother than I would have expected with the live streaming capabilities. So, right, on to the main event. So I have Chris Jericho as a double champion. Last week, I actually played as Jericho, had him beat Shane Douglas, who had the ECW Heavyweight Championship, but no longer works for ECW. You can't do title for title in this game, so I wasn't able to do that. It was champion versus champion. And I had Jericho win the ECW championship. For the most part, I want to stay out of it as far as pushing which one wins. Almost book it like it's if it were a shoot. And again, this is not high-end simulator, deep minutia stuff here. It's just what's turned out to be a really fun mode so far, at least for me. Wow. A 2.9 count. less than 3 minutes into the match. Second time. But I'm sticking with this referee because, as I noted before in the beginning, it just from week to week, you would keep the same ref you had in the last show, and then it was almost like a rotation of sorts as far as the referees, both real and downloaded, kind of came through without any particular rhyme or reason. Another 2.9. Is he going to beat him in 5 minutes? He did. So Jericho retains the AEW Heavyweight Championship. Dr. Death loses in his first match with AEW. So yeah, 67% match evaluation. Luckily, the rest of the card was very good to great. So it ended up with 93% for the average card rating. I'm not sure who I'm going to have Jericho defend against next. I was concerned that maybe he needed a month off to stay healthy. And he might, but I mean, it was one thing when I screwed up playing, had like an 8-minute match with Shane Douglas and Walter. It's another one, it's Jericho as the computer, the CPU, the sim, getting the win that quickly. So, all right, that's it for the card. It'll end the event. It's noted Dean and Pac regained the Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. Success. I'm going to have to look into that as far as the invite hires for people that have styles that don't necessarily match as well with the King's Road designation that I've chosen for AEW for this run through it. But we came out ahead money-wise, so at least there was that. Hopefully the merch sold well. Never say never. CM Punk joins WWE. Well, that's one interesting turn of events there. CM Punk in, Roman Reigns out. I think Roman Reigns has a huge salary, kind of like Seth Rollins when he left WWE in this game. So we got Marufuji out there. It was kind of a weird fit anyway, the few Noah guys that I piggybacked into the All Japan category. Yeah, so I'm still at a C. I'll have to investigate and see if there's some way to figure out how to book a show that people I bring in as a one-off won't freak out about with my style. With the strong Lucha, I've got enough of those junior heavyweights. Jericho worked in Mexico, especially earlier in his career, Lionheart. Okay, so that's going to be it for the stream for tonight. It's the 1 month. Back to work for me. and I'll talk to y'all later.